Hi, it's time for Street Talk, your voice and your views on the issues in the news. One of North America's most elusive predators is being threatened by illegal immigration from Mexico and by the US government's efforts to stop it. The border fence that Washington hopes to complete this year is limiting the movement of jaguars and harming their natural habitat. Conservationists are concerned that there's no plan to protect the big cats, which are vulnerable if the border fence is extended to more remote but unsecured areas. Jaguar biologist Emil McCain talked about his concerns for the future of the animal.
The physical barriers caused by Border Patrol's activities to seal the border are directly linked with the funneling of people into the last remaining habitats. So the two really work together to form an impassable barrier. Jaguars are very solitary animals. They can't move freely when there's a lot of human activity in an area. It is perhaps the most wild and elusive animal in North America. It really inspires people. It really evokes a sense of wonder and appreciation for the natural world. And I think in our today's society, we need that connection with the natural world. We need to know where we are on this planet with other species.
Examining the threat to the jaguar there. Well, our show discussing the definition of terrorism this week prompted you to fill our email box with your opinions and generated a lot of discussion on our YouTube website. A viewer who goes by the name Netoy disagrees with how the term is used. The word terrorism belongs in the same family of terms as homophobia. It entered the international vernacular because it infers much while remaining relatively oblique. This makes such passive-aggressive words popular among pundits and politicians the world over. Africans 1970 in the US disagrees with the definition of a terrorist. They are not monsters in our midst, but people prepared to take certain actions. That is the view of someone who is quite sheltered. Another viewer in the US questions the definition of acts of terrorism. When an Islamic extremist drops a bomb on civilians, it's terrorism. But apparently, according to the West, dropping nuclear bombs on whole cities is not. Now we go to our Street Talk segment, Punchlines, where we look at some of the best cartoons from around the world. Matt Wuerker is with us for that. He's the editorial cartoonist with the DC-based Politico.com. Here's what we examined. Well, Matt, always great to talk with you. You know, we end up with some interesting cartoons here. The first one's not very flattering, of course, for the French president.
No, and actually, I was interested in these cartoons because they're all good examples of how cartoonists are most effective when they're talking about their own governments. And this is an example of the French, perhaps one of the great bastions of satire.
Frederic Delisle did this one.
Yes, from Nice. And, you know, if you can say this about your president, the state of your free press is quite free.
That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. The next
good.
one here, one of yours. I love these colorful pictures you do for us.
Thank you. This is something I did for Politico. This is dealing with the surge in Iraq and talking about sort of the idea of nation building literally as sort of a housing project or something. Cakewalk estates. And here Bush has managed to stand up a wall after 5 years and calls it progress.
And the price has gone from brillions to trillions.
Yes.
Yeah. The long date ahead there. And this last one here, Dry Bones, the madness continues, from Yakov Kirshin in the Jerusalem Post.
This is the Jerusalem Post. This is a great Jewish black humor. Olmert is now supplying the Palestinians with 2 million bullets. Calm down, it's no big deal. It's not. Israel will get most of the ammunition back. Of course, it'll come back one bullet at a time.
Yes, dark humor there.
Yeah.
Great to speak with you again, Matt. We'll see you soon.
Good seeing you.
Cheers. You can see Matt's work at Politico.com. That's it until next time. Do keep sending in your questions and comments to riz@aljazeera.net and point us to anything interesting or amusing for Street Talk. And remember, what you see here isn't necessarily the view of Al Jazeera, and some of the content's been edited, but for time and space reasons only. And that's the talk on the street.